I'm 100% sold on the tools, the foundational tools that exist within EOS. It made me a better company. It helped me, once I implemented EOS, triple the size of my business before I sold it.
Hello, I am excited to introduce to you a good friend of mine and client, Jarrett Thomas. Jarrett and I met back in 2016. Wow, Jarrett, has it really been 8 years that all this has happened?
Time sure flies. Yes.
Yeah. So at that time, you owned and ran Suburban Laboratories, which I believe your father was one of the initial founders of that business. And then it transitioned to you. And then at a point, then further, you began looking for an EOS coach. Tell me about kind of that process. What was going on at that time?
Yeah, I worked for my father for several years. After I worked for him for, I would say, probably about 5 to 10 years, I realized I wanted more than kind of a lifestyle business, and I wanted to grow and take the company new directions. So I purchased the company from him and started to grow and had some success. But, in a few short years, I kind of hit a ceiling, just difficulty getting to the next level where I wanted to go with the business. So a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, had recommended EOS, that I take a look at it, that it might help me with some of the issues that I was facing. And so I read the book, Get a Grip and Traction, and I fell in love with the idea, the principles, the systems. My father and I both kind of just ran on instinct. We did what we thought was right, and we guessed right a lot of times, but that only got us so far. That only got me so far. And so having a system in place was kind of essential to taking me to the next level. And the decision to hire a coach, hire an implementer, I just wanted to do it as fast as I possibly could. I didn't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure it all out myself. And that's where I found you.
So you said you hit a ceiling. Bring that to life a little bit. What were some of the frustrations when you hit a ceiling? What was not working for you?
Well, one of the things that I used to think about a lot was how I always felt like my team didn't have the same passion I did. I never felt like I used to call it, they didn't take ownership. I mean, they weren't terribly accountable. I wasn't very good at holding people accountable. And so it just never felt right. So I'd say that was probably the biggest issue, was just my team and trying to get everyone on the same page with my vision.
Okay, great. So we began working together, and we started from the beginning, moved through the phases of implementation. What were some of the changes you saw? What were some of the impacts that EOS had on the business?
I guess the first major impact that I realized was in the concept of right people, right seats, and going through the process of defining our structure and our accountability chart. I realized that I had a few members of my team, as I suspected, that were very, very essential in kind of getting me to where I wanted to get to, but really weren't the right people to get me to the next level. And outside of changing the structure a bit, just making those tough people decisions and bringing new people in and creating a team that really, really gelled and all kind of saw where we wanted to go and, wanted to get there together.
What was going on personally? What was going on inside you, and how was EOS impacting that?
Stress. I just define it as a lot of stress. I mean, I was I understood when I bought the business that there was going to be a lot of financial stress, financial responsibility on myself. And I had a lot of investment in the company that I had to make to keep it growing. And the people issues, very, very stressful, just having to deal with problems with my team. And it was just one of those things where the stress got to the point for me where it was just, this is a lot harder. It shouldn't be this hard to be a profitable, successful company.
Yeah. Now, your business is a very technical one, and you have to hire smart people. That you're running a laboratory, and all that has to be right. But I got the sense over the time we worked together, that was actually a lot simpler than the people stuff. and getting people to be focused and work together. Is that true?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, in fact, I would say one of the biggest benefits that that EOS brought to the company was, I mean, even going through the process of defining our core values, for example, and building a recruitment and interviewing and hiring process around those core values, so that we were looking for people that were a good fit for our culture and a good fit for our organization, more so than just, experience. So we always just focused on how much experience someone had. And we actually started focusing more on that culture aspect, the core value fit. And when we started doing that, we just saw a different type of individual coming into the company. And it took a while. It took maybe a couple of years for us to get to the point where, like, we had turned over some staff, we had brought in some great people, and those problems with experience, those problems we were seeing, kind of faded away.
So we're going to fast forward now. We implemented the system. We worked together, as many of our clients do. You took over facilitating your quarterly meetings and running the business on it. Now it's ongoing because people are coming and going, but you're achieving some of those goals. And then this opportunity came along. Tell me about that.
Well, about 3 or 4 years into using EOS, the value of the business started to grow. I started getting contacted by people left and right that were interested in buying my business. I didn't really think about that. I mean, I had been an owner for maybe, a little less than 10 years, and I was having a great time. But this opportunity to sell the business, the interest was real. So I started looking into that with, a little more detail. I talked to a few of my mentors and advisors, and decided, why not go out on top? I mean, why not take what I've built here, and things are humming pretty well, and a lot of opportunity ahead. Why not either bring in a partner or just sell outright and move on to the next chapter? So I started entertaining offers, and it took about a year to come to that decision and to get through that process. But eventually I did sell the company. Had the opportunity to stay with the new company for 3 years post sale, and I worked with them to not only transition our team, but help evaluate and integrate several additional acquisitions that they made over those 3 years, and that was a lot of fun.
I want to go back to that thought process of deciding to sell. So this is a legacy company at this time. Your dad was one of the founders of it. You bought it from him. You're building from this. When I talk to business owners, sometimes that's hard to let go. It's like letting go of a child. How did you deal with that?
I talked to a lot of people. I did my due diligence on trying to decide, is this the right decision? I talked to people that had sold their businesses, that were thinking of selling, and everybody approaches it a little different. Some people are very interested in their legacy. Some people want to make sure that all their people are secure. They're passionate about about the business. I was very passionate about being an environmental testing lab. Our vision was, our mission was to protect human health and the environment. But it really wasn't my real passion in terms of like what I really enjoyed. And I didn't find this out until I sold the business and started working with some of these other acquisitions, was that I loved working with teams. And I loved that, helping other business owners kind of get to the next level. I was very active in a peer group, Vistage, and just helping other people kind of learn what I've learn from my mistakes, made enough of those over the years. And that was really my calling, not the environmental aspect of business, but the helping others aspect. So that's where I decided, you know what, this is where I want to go. Didn't know quite yet how I was going to get there or what I was going to do post sale, but that's where I came to in my final decision.
Yeah. So the theme I'm getting here is transition from working for your father to working for yourself to building the organization, and then you had that transitionary period when you sold it and you said you stayed on for 3 years. So it wasn't like one morning you woke up and you had nowhere to go. You still had, job duties, so had to run the company and integrate the other ones. But that wrapped up this January, right? First part of this year, you kind of, closed the book on Suburban Labs. What's the next chapter for Jarrett?
Well, one of the best pieces of advice I got when I decided to sell the business is you better know what you want to do after you sell, because not all transactions happen where the owner stays on for 3 years. As a matter of fact, I think that's rare. So I had a lot of time to think about that, and my thought process kept coming back to EOS. I enjoyed the process of implementing EOS. I'm 100% sold on the tools, the foundational tools that exist within EOS. It made me a better company. It helped me, once I implemented EOS, triple the size of my business before I sold it. So I kept thinking about EOS. I thought about maybe writing a book, but the idea of becoming an EOS implementer is something that it just kept coming back to that over and over. I kept challenging myself: is this the right decision? What do I want to do? And that's where, that's ultimately what I ended up doing. Was I actually called you and I said, what do you think about that? And you were great. So yeah, I decided to become an EOS implementer post sale.
Yeah, I noticed the orange material on your shelves behind you. That's something we're all really proud of. Well, Jarrett, it has been exciting for me to be on this journey with you. One of the things that we as implementers share with all of our business owner clients is we're committed to helping you get what you want out of your business. And it's been a number of years. These things don't happen overnight. Nothing does. But together, you were able to implement a system, and I got a 50-yard line seat to watch this happen and to sell it, as you said, go out on top, and then to join our ranks and become an implementer. Excited to be working with you here in the Chicago area. So anyway, thanks so much for spending a few minutes just to share your story. I know this is going to resonate with other business owners as we go forward. And Jarrett, I look forward to seeing you at our next EOS event. Thanks so much for your time today.
All right. Thank you.